China undoubtedly manufactures everything from needles to cars and sends them to the world, but it lacks one thing that only America possesses. On April 2, 2025, American President Donald Trump appears in the White House with a huge red card in front of the media. This red card lists some countries' names and their respective tariff rates. President Trump reads out the rates for each country one by one, and with that, a wave of fear spreads across the world. Stock markets, including America's, crash worldwide because this was a signal of a massive war. A war where the weapon will be power, and the ammunition for that weapon will be money. Yes, we can call it a trade war or a tariff war. Donald Trump has played an indirect move that could bring the world's most powerful trade country, China, to its knees. If this trade war happens, whose side will weigh heavier, China or America? Welcome once again to our videos. Viewers, to understand this matter properly, let's first learn about tariffs. Most people think that tariffs are perhaps a tax imposed on other countries, but in reality, it's a kind of import duty that will only apply to products imported into America. This means if America imposes a 26% tariff on India, it implies that products coming from India will face a 26% tax in America. Similarly, according to Donald Trump's list, Pakistan faces a 29% tariff, and at the top of the list is China, with a 34% tariff. Imposing tariffs or import duties is not an abnormal thing. However, if we look at the same list, India has already imposed 52% on America, Pakistan 58%, and China 67%. The benefit of tariffs for any country is not just earning money by taxing products, but it's a way to protect its local industry. For example, Harley-Davidson, a premium American motorcycle brand. When this bike comes to India from America, the Indian government imposes a 100% tax on it. Suppose a Harley-Davidson model costs Rs 1.5 lakh, and if no tax were imposed in India, this bike would be available at the same price as a locally made Royal Enfield. So, when customers get both bikes at the same price, everyone would prefer the American brand bike. This would cause significant harm to India's local bike industry. That's why tariffs or import taxes are imposed to deliberately make foreign bikes expensive. This brings several benefits. First, the local industry keeps running. Second, it saves foreign exchange. Because obviously, whoever imports an American bike will have to send US dollars to America, and this would reduce India's foreign currency savings. Now, since America has imposed the tariff, it means goods coming from other countries to America will be taxed, and those things will become expensive in America. As a result, their sales will decrease and people will prefer to buy locally manufactured goods. For instance, textiles from India and Pakistan are sold in American markets, but these textiles can also be made there. Due to the tax, a decline will be seen in the sales of India and Pakistan's textile industries. But the biggest impact of Trump's tariffs will be on China. In fact, it's even said that Donald Trump's real target was China. This is because, until the year 2000, American products were sold worldwide. The status that China has now was once held by America. But with time, not just America, but the entire world's business was taken over by China. Even the smallest things are now made in China and exported to every corner of the world. Due to cheap labor, China can produce any product so cheaply that it easily competes with international market prices. Globally, China dominates almost the entire world with its products, and local industries are dying out. If we look only at the trade between the USA and China, in the year 2000, America imported $80 billion worth of goods from China, and the same year, China imported $16 billion from America. And now in 2025, the situation is that America imports $440 billion worth of goods from China annually, while China imports only $145 billion from America. Donald Trump says this trade should be equal. That is, if we buy $440 billion worth of goods from China, China should also buy the same amount. But here, there's a $295 billion difference, and this difference is called the trade deficit. To balance or reduce this trade deficit, Donald Trump has targeted China. This will cause products coming from China, especially smartphones, to become significantly more expensive in America. And among those smartphones, particularly Apple iPhones, which are American products but manufactured in China. When these products become expensive to import from China, their industries will shut down in China and shift back to America. This is what Donald Trump wants, but China does not. Just look at this. All products of the American tech giant Apple, from iPhones to Apple Watches, are mostly made in China. Besides this, Tesla's cars, Dell and HP's laptops, Nike and Skechers shoes, LG and GOP's accessories, Black Decker and Stanley's products, and even toys from American companies like Mattel or Hasbro are made in China. If all these companies wind up their plants in China and return to America, America would need to import about $200 billion less from China annually, and the trade deficit would drop from $295 billion to just $80 or $90 billion. Of course, America would benefit on one hand, but due to higher production costs in America, these products would become more expensive, and ultimately these companies would suffer losses. But it seems that Donald Trump wants to break China's monopoly at any cost, even if it means suffering losses himself. On the other hand, China also doesn't want this to happen. And that's why, when Trump increased taxes on Chinese products, China also imposed additional taxes on American products. And now this matter is taking the shape of a trade war. Neither the Chinese president is backing down, nor does Donald Trump seem to have any intention of retreating. Both countries have imposed so many taxes on each other that if something costs $10 from China, it will now come at double the price. And the situation in China is somewhat similar. But the key thing to see here is whose side weighs heavier in this power struggle. In this trade war, the one who survives longer will win. If we look at it, America mostly imports tech items from China, like mobile phones, laptops, electronics, or toys. If these products aren't imported for some time, it won't affect America too much. Or if these products are imported from another country, they might be slightly more expensive at most. But China imports one thing from America, without which it's very difficult for China to manage. Yes, and this product might create a big problem for China in the coming months. Let's find out. China's total population is 1.41 billion, which is 15% more than America's population. Obviously, to feed this larger population, more food is needed. And the most basic things are wheat and rice. But the problem is that China has agricultural land covering only 13% of its total area. That means just 0.23 acres per Chinese citizen. Most of this land is used to grow wheat and rice, so that basic food items don't have to be imported. But these are just basic items. In China, pork is consumed in huge quantities, so much that China has the largest pig farming in the world. According to 2024 records, China has over 400 million pigs, more than the human population of America. The world's pork consumption is one thing and China's is another. Now obviously these 400 million pigs need something to eat. For this, they are given corn for sugar and soybeans for protein. Their feed consists of 60% corn and 40% soybeans. 80% of corn production happens in China itself, while the remaining 20% is imported from Ukraine. But soybeans are a product that are only imported from America and Brazil. Every year, China imports 50 million tons of soybeans from America for pig feed. And importing this product from elsewhere is also difficult, because soybeans are a crop that doesn't yield much profit for farmers. In 1 acre, only 1,500 kilon of soybeans can be grown, while for corn, it's 6,000 kilon per acre. This crop can only be grown where there's a lot of surplus agricultural land, like in America, because America has a small population and a lot of land. On average, an American citizen has about 1.25 acres of land, 400% more than a Chinese citizen. So, for this reason, America not only meets its own food demands, but also has enough land left to grow soybeans and export them to China. Now, it's not that pigs don't eat anything other than soybeans. China had already sensed this danger and tried adding alternative things to feeds, like canola seeds. These are cheaper than soybeans, but they have lower digestibility, so more has to be given. which increases the total cost. They also tried peanuts or sunflower meals, but these don't have as much protein as soybeans, so extra supplements are needed, which increases costs further. Currently, China is conducting a new experiment where insect farming will be done, and those insects will be fed to pigs to meet their protein demands. But so far, this experiment is in its testing phase. Besides this, China is a trade surplus country, meaning it manufactures so many things that China alone cannot consume them. To survive, it has to sell its products to the world, no matter what. The biggest disadvantage of a trade surplus economy is that they have a lot to lose. On the other hand, America, which has become a consumer market, has many buying options available. If it doesn't buy from China, it can buy from somewhere else to meet its demands. Donald Trump had imposed tariffs on China in his previous tenure as well, and it was clearly seen that China was losing the game. And this time too, similar expectations are there. Donald Trump has all the cards with which he can blackmail China, and perhaps China is well aware of this. During the production of this video, news came that Trump has put tariffs on all other countries on hold for 90 days, but increased China's tariff to 125%. This proves that these tariffs were indeed imposed for China. What's your opinion on this whole matter? Please let me know in the comments section. I hope you'll like and share this video as well. See you in the next amazing video.